Hello humans, how's it going everyone? We're feeling good today? A little less depressed? I'm about to wreck your day. I want everyone to take a deep breath. And I mean this, I'm not saying this facetiously. This stuff we're talking about is heavy, okay? It affects our nervous system. So what we're gonna do, when I say 3, we're all gonna take a deep breath in our nose, and then we're gonna do a long exhale together. Okay, you guys ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let it all go. Good. Okay. You ready to be depressed now? Okay, good, let's do it. All right, so my name is Kelsi Sheren. I am a Canadian combat veteran. I am also an author. I'm also a CEO. I'm also a mother, which is most important, and I'm a wife. But above all of those things, I'm a community member just like you. And I am what I call a recovering Catholic, so just relax. I did it my entire life, birth on, and then I went to war. So you can imagine the challenges that come with that, but we're working through it. We're doing all right. So let's talk about why I'm even here, how I got involved in this movement, because like so many of you, if you don't know, you don't know. If you don't understand how tyranny works, you're getting a full-blown example right now. If you don't understand how slow drips work, you're getting an example right now. And if you don't understand how convincing others that they are not worth living works, you've had an example since 2016. So let's talk about how I even got hurt, how I started a company, why I am the human I am now. In 2007, I went down to the capital in Ottawa. I was at school at Algonquin, okay? I was the kid that that grew up in Campbellford, Ontario, near the Trenton Air Base. You know the serial killer we have from there? It's our claim to fame. And I didn't fit in. So I went to college really quick. I said, I need to get out of this town. I'm 17, I gotta go. I got places to be. I had nowhere to be. But I knew there was something greater. So I went down, I went to college in Algonquin for about 2 months. And then as I grew up, I was always taught we go thank our veterans on Remembrance Day. If any of you guys still know what Remembrance Day is, even though it's being destroyed. We do it on November 11th. So I went down to the Capitol, and on the way back, I met this lady on a bus. And this is that real cheesy moment where you look at a movie and you see the main character and then the lights go on and it's like, ah. There was a lady sitting there. She was in her 80s, okay? She had a row of medals. And if you don't know Canada, we get 1 medal most of the time, and they put numbers on it. We're not like America, where we're just covered head to toe. So if you see someone with a stack, you better pay attention. These people are for real. So I went over to that lady for whatever reason. Could be that I talked too much, could be that I was inquisitive, could be that I was just directed to meet this human. And I met her, and she told me this story about one of being first females to do this really badass job. So something hit, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna quit college. This isn't for me. And I went and joined the Army. This is 2017. I just turned 18 years old in September, and I joined in November. Okay? Called my parents, said, I'm checking out. I got to go to boot camp, and I'm joining the Army. And they're like, okay. What are you gonna do? And I said, there's a war going on. I got places to go. Like, okay, why? Because just like they do now with the CBC and CTV and Global and all of your media that you guys choose to consume when you're over a certain age, I don't know what it is. We gotta turn it off. Shut it down. None of it is the truth. None of it. And it never has been. But it sure convinced me to go fight a war I needed to be not in, with our coffins coming home, with our flags over them of our dads being killed. Because it was a war we should never have been in. Let's just start with that, okay? So I joined the Army. I go to basic training. I do my SQ. I do my DP1. I learn how to blow things up. I'm an artillery gunner by trade. If you don't know what artillery is, picture World War II movies and hear the boom. That's me pulling the lanyard, dropping that on your face. That's what I do. I love it. It's fantastic. They have a nickname for us in the Army. We're called the Hand of God. We will reach out and touch you anywhere you are. So it's a powerful position, but it's a male-dominated position, okay? So I'm 5 foot, I'm 110 pounds on a good day, fluctuates to 114, depends on how much cake I eat that week. And the round weighs 100 pounds, and it goes to here. So I go into this trade, I'm the only female, and they go, you know what, let's make this a next step. How about we send you to Vacancy, Quebec? You speak French? No. You're gonna learn. Okay. So I go, I get to the unit. The first response I get is, hey you, we don't want you. Standard, Quebec, yeah, that makes sense. And they said, you're not gonna be able to do the job. So being me, if you don't know my background, you haven't read my book, I'll forgive you, but I used to be a fighter, a high-level international fighter. So I'm not very intimidated by many. So we go, we do the job. We find out we're deploying a year later. So I go from January of 2008, and I'm in Afghanistan by April 2009. So it's a little bit fast, but we were burning and turning people, okay? We were doing 6-month rotations on combat arms roles. So we go, we deploy. Everyone thinks it's, it's Canada. We're not, cracking indoors. We're not the Navy SEALs. We're not America. We're not losing and losing and losing. But that's not the truth, right? So we go, we deploy, we go out to an American FOB. So now we've got an all French speaking unit of all men, and we walk into a FOB in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of boys from Texas. How do you think that went, guys? It's really fun to mess with them on the radio. You start speaking French and ma'am, you have to come back again at that, ma'am? I don't understand. Then you try it again. So you make good time over there. You have a good time. You got a joke, right? Dark humor. Cut to June. We get a phone call on the 10th. And they go, we're picking Kelsi up, and she's going out with the British. And I go, what am I doing? He said, you're going to kick in doors, and you're going to take women and kids, and you're going to search them. Because we have a rise of the Taliban getting really smart, right? Because as Westerners, we follow what? The Geneva Convention. That's why we'll never win a war again, by the way, just heads up. So we're over there, and we go, she's going with us. Number one, this is not my job. Never trained on it, don't know what I'm doing. But soldier is, soldier is, soldier is, meaning you know how to use your weapon. So they pick me up. The British come grab me in a Chinook filled with interpreters and Afghan people that are going to the medics, okay? We're taking small arms fire, we land in CAF. For you guys to know what CAF is, it's basically where the Tim Hortons is. It's where the Pizza Hut is. It's where the officers hang out, okay? So they fly me in, they give me to the Brits, and they go, here she is, she's yours now, here's your responsibility. And the only thing I'm told is stay by the bomb dog, shoot when you need to shoot, don't shoot anybody in the back, and when you take the women and kids, this is what you're allowed to do, and this is what you're not allowed to do. I'm 19 years old. Let's just remember that. I'm not taught anything about the customs. I'm not taught anything about the religion. I'm not taught anything about anything other than don't shoot them in the face. But I'm an artillery gunner, so I'm dropping a 100-pound bomb. It's not really your face I'm worried about. So we go outside the wire, and we're on a week operation on foot. Okay, these guys don't know me from a hole in the wall. This is the 3rd Scott Battalion from Scotland and the Black Watch, one of the best units you'll ever work with and ever know. Okay, these guys know what they're doing. But they also knew we were coming. So the second we landed, we were taking fire. And within 24 hours, we had our first IED death. And that is what did me in. We were going down a road and we were clearing and we were told to hold. So we were holding in place, and I've told this story a million times. We were watching and waiting, and we had our interpreter sitting beside us, and they had an ICOM radio, and the ICOM radio is this. We tapped the Taliban's phone so we could hear them. So when they're close, we hear them. When it's staticky, they're far enough away. But what do we know about the Taliban? They're sadistic. What do we know about Islamic extremists? They will do anything and everything, including stand in front of you themselves and sacrifice themselves if it means they can take one of you. So when one of our buddies, the Brits, 19 years old, young kid, hits the bottom of the sticks, 100-pound bomb goes off, blows him into pieces. And I mean pieces. Who do you think's got to pick him up? Me. So my job is then to run through an open field while having mortars dropped around us, while having rounds come down range at 19 years old, and go pick up my friend and put him in my pockets. So 3 and 4 of us went, and we ran, and we did it, and we got him, because we leave no one behind, nothing behind, never, ever anything behind. And then we triaged the hurt, and we kept on pushing on. And after the Pedro flights, the Blackhawks came and picked him up. We put our other buddy on the other one, and he said, "Where's so-and-so?" And I said, "We got him, he's good." And you lie, because he will go into shock. And then we unleash hell. And those door gunners come around and unleash machine guns, and it is the most beautiful sound you'll ever hear in all of your life when you watch one of yours die the way I have. And for the rest of the week, that was our week. One after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. And I came home and I stopped, by home I mean calf, after that operation. And let me just say, when we're taking the women and kids, we're not super kind either. So don't be surprised when you guys wonder why Hamas will keep going, and why the Taliban will keep going, and why ISIS will keep going, and Hezbollah will keep going, and it's because we create terrorists by killing one of their families. And then the brother sees it, the uncle sees it, the sister sees it, and now they're all sympathizers, and now they want your blood. And guess what? In the Islamic religion, that doesn't stop either. That's why it hasn't ever stopped. So the people I now know that I witnessed and that I was near over 15 years ago, actually last week on June 11th when I was on that operation, those people are now fighting our people. Why? Because of people like me who kicked their door in the middle of the night, took their kids away from them. So after all of that happened, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress in the country, and I was put on 11 different drugs at 100 pounds and 19 years old. Not told what they were for, why I was taking them, how they were going to help me, or what was next, other than you're broken, you're damaged, and you are useless, and you're getting on the next plane back to Canada. And so I did that. I was on the next plane back to Canada. I showed up to an empty airport at 2 in the morning in Quebec with no one there, with no staff, with no clue what to do. I went covered in my kit that was still bloody because it was not replaced, to my unit to be told that I was useless, broken, and that I was going to the hospital in Ottawa. So I went to Ottawa, showed up, and they said, "Well, you're done. You're not fixable. You're not healable, and this is your new life. Welcome." I was 19 years old. Okay? So at that point, I was hyper-suicidal. And when I say like suicidal, I mean like I thought about it, I practiced it, I was gonna do it, I had it planned. I was that person. And I mean, I was that person from 2009 all the way to 2015. I was on every drug, I was doing every program, I was speaking to every doctor, I was doing the art therapy, I was doing the treatments, I was not getting better. Because this government's answer to people who are ill and sick and broken is more pills. And more pills and more pills and more pills. Because we are vending machines for the pharmaceutical companies, mainly Pfizer. Okay? So they tell me I'm broken, they tell me I have post-traumatic stress disorder, they don't even diagnose my TBI. So I have this amazing doctor, Dr. Greg Passy, okay, 2015, old man, served in Bosnia, Rwanda, hard dude, looks me straight in the eyes and goes, "We're gonna do art therapy." That was the dumbest thing I had ever heard. I don't do art therapy, I blow things up. What are you talking about? You're ridiculous, you're being ridiculous, old man. And he said, just give it a go, just give it a shot. So I did. I got a bunch of casings from friends of mine back in Ottawa who were snipers, you know, they stole the range casings, sent them to me, and I started building jewelry. And it was the first day I went from 9 in that morning till 5 p.m. at that night where I didn't get up, where I didn't move, but most importantly, I didn't want to die that day. Okay, so now we're on something new. Oh, we changed something in the brain. We opened up the opportunity to heal, because we removed the negative feedback loop for a second. So once we knew that it could happen once, we knew it could happen again. So I took this company and I started going around very much like the alliance groups do in each province, and I just started going door to door to stores and be like, "Hi, yeah, I know nothing about business. I don't really have a business. I don't actually know what my prices are, but will you buy my jewelry for your store?" That's ridiculous. You shouldn't do that ever, by the way. It's not a good business practice. I don't recommend it. But most importantly, what happened was I realized that I never wanted to have a nonprofit. I'm not good at asking for money. I'm not that person. I don't really know, honestly, how to ask for money without selling you something. And I figured, you know what? People were resonating with this jewelry. Like, I'm wearing it right now and you would barely know I'm covered in bullet casings. But it was working. I didn't want to die. I wanted to live, and I wanted to live for others now. And what was really beautiful about that was that we know that when you help, you heal. We know that when you show up and you give counsel and you give space and you hold space for others, you're not just healing them, but you are healing yourself. That's why community is so important. That's why they've done everything they can to break community up. To say no during COVID to church, to say no to AA meetings in church. But sure, liquor stores can stay open, and so can McDonald's. Okay? So I go through this process, cut to 2019. I'm still going in and out of suicidality. I'm married now, I have a child now, I have a successful business, I've been on Ellen, I've been in Forbes, I've done everything you can imagine for a brand to ever do. Still want to kill myself. Can't figure out why. Find out that I had an undiagnosed TBI. When you leave that festers, that gets bad real fast, okay? And my company was doing okay. 200 retailers, donating $500,000, giving people a tool, and most importantly, giving them something to wear so that when they get to that point, because we know suicide is an impulse, that they can look down and see the thing. We've sold 20,000 units of our Buddy Check bracelet, which is this guy right here. Do you know why? Not because it's super fancy, not because it's got diamonds in it, because it's a thing when you buy them, they come in a pack of 2 and you give them to that person, and now the relationship and ownership is on you. Not the government, not the VA, not your doctor, not your parents, not your husband or wife. You, your buddy. You buy a pack, you call your buddy, you save a life. I had a Navy SEAL once say he was wearing it, he put a pistol in his mouth and he took it out because he went, God damn it, she's gonna be pissed. All I ever ask of my people is very simple. Do not make me go to your funeral. We have 44 suicides in America every single day that are veterans and first responders. Every day. Every day. 44 people today, by the end of this, are gone. Mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, kids, because we all joined at 18, right? Okay? So we're going through COVID now, which you guys all know how fun that was, because you're in Ontario, so you get it. Well, I live in BC. I'm from here, though, so I feel your pain. And they go, you know what? All your retailers are shutting down. So now the thing that was meant to save me and I wrapped my identity around to heal me, guess what happened? Poof. Because Trudeau said so. How do you think I took that? Took it well. I said, cool, you want to play with my life? I'll play with yours too. So I started making masks, even though I didn't believe in them. I started making masks and I sold them to the government. I can do this too, you know. This ain't that hard. Stop it. So I did. Kept all of my people employed and locked my door, so with Health Canada came up to the door, we're not here. Suck it. So that's how that went. Cut to 2020, I started a podcast. Suicidality is coming in and out, and I'm still not me. I'm not this. Still in the back of the mind, I can hear the voice being like, why not today? They won't miss you. Why not? My buddy goes to me when I start my podcast, former Army Ranger. If you guys don't know what the Rangers are, the Rangers lead the way, and they are the reason why World War II was won. Them and the Marines. And then we were all right. These guys are the leaders and the leaders. These guys are the people who show up. And he goes to me, my buddy Griff goes, you know, hey, Kelsi, have you heard of ayahuasca? Do any of you know what this is fun for me. Do any of you know what ayahuasca is in this room? Put your hands up, I want to see. Okay, so a few of you. Let me give you a crash course. It's a plant medicine that has a high 80% success rate in not only helping with post-traumatic stress disorder, but it'll change your entire life. It'll help change the function in your brain. It will literally give you what you need to move forward. And it is a plant medicine. It's one of those things where you go sit in Peru with the shaman and they do the songs and they do the dance and you vomit all over yourself. It's that. And that's how desperate I was. Okay? That's how desperate I was. The pills weren't working because they don't work. Because SSRIs don't work. Because fitness is 2 times more effective. You going for a 30-minute walk every day is 2 times more effective than an SSRI. But what happens when you don't take that SSRI? Oh, you feel things. You can think clearly. Your gut health's in check. And You can't make money for them. So the first answer is always the SSRI.
What does that stand for?
Serotonin, it's basically serotonin reuptake. Thank you, inhibitor.
And what's TBI stand for?
Traumatic brain injury. I know I'm bad at that, so sorry. So what happens is I go, okay, well, I'm gonna probably kill myself, so I might as well just go give this a shot. Last kick at the can kind of vibes. So this organization called Heroic Hearts Project in America goes, we're going in 30 days, you wanna come? And I went, okay, I'm going. So I went, and I sat in the circle of Blackwater operatives and Navy SEALs and CIA and Army Rangers, and again, I was the only female. And we sat down in that circle, and for the next 3 days, we did ayahuasca. And my entire life changed. I have never wanted to live more since the moment I started plant medicine, and I have never, ever, ever gone back on a pharmaceutical drug, even for pain management, since I did that. And I won't, because I know what it does. So I'm doing the psychedelics, I'm in these places, I'm helping others heal, I'm going through the process, I no longer want to die, I no longer want to kill myself, but I'm in the veteran community, right? And I got the podcast. I'm on the Lex Fridman, I'm on the Jocko, I'm on all these big platforms where now I have the opportunity to speak about real things. 2019, 2020, I started getting phone calls from the veteran community. Hey, Kels, we got a problem. Well, what's the problem? We have a lot of problems. What's the problem? Yeah, we have an audio recording of Veterans Affairs offering one of our guys MAID. I said, sorry, what? At this point, I'm like, what's MAID? Why would I know what MAID is? It's ridiculous. And they go, yeah, we have an audio recording. And I said, what was the deal? He goes, he was asking for help with post-traumatic stress disorder and a traumatic brain injury for treatment. And I went, get me on the phone with him. So I get on the phone with this guy. He's living in Brazil. He's in hiding. He's terrified because he knows what he's just uncovered is something not small. Now we have a case manager offering veterans suicide instead of treatment. Oh, okay. How many more we got? According to the government, it's only been one. Really? Well, I guess I'm going to do some digging now, aren't I? Come to find out, it's been more than 10. Come to find out, it's been a female case manager and a male case manager. Come to find out, it's being taught that this is the alternative instead of offering treatment. So we start gathering proof, and we start doing our due diligence, and we start talking to these people. And sure enough, a friend of mine who has become a friend, Christine Gauthier, you guys have probably seen her story on the news. She's the one that was in the wheelchair. All she asked for was a wheelchair ramp. They offered her MAID. Okay? Healthy human. Rio Olympics, gold. Invictus Games, gold. Artillery gunner who paved the way for people like me and females to go through this job, offered MAID. Okay? The guy that was offered the first time was a special operator. Do you guys know how much money it is to train one of them? And we want to kill them? Picking the wrong group here, people. So what do we know, though, about that? What do we know about MAID? And what do we know about the 1930s? All right, the eugenics program, right? Sign your kid over. We're going to give them literacy. And they kill them. What about the veteran from World War I who lost the leg? We don't want you to have to live like that, right? This is eugenics. The way they start this is they slow roll it to veterans first. We know that. We're your first line of defense against the police. Anybody see the trucker movement? Yeah. Who do you think was stopping the cops from abusing the rights of the people? Right. So what happens when you take us out? Who do you got now? Exactly. So we go with us first, just like we're the ones that get all the new vaccines that you guys have never had. I've had so many in my body, I don't even know how many I've had. I was getting on the plane from Quebec to go to Afghanistan, and as I'm going up the door, guy hits me in the back of the arm. Oh yeah, you didn't get this one. I have no clue what that was, by the way. So that's standard. We're government owned. So they start the vaccines with the veterans, then they start MAID with the veterans, and then they slow roll it to test society. I want to see how much you guys are going to push back. Found out, y'all don't push that hard. That scares the hell out of me. I'll tell you why that scares me in particular. Because I know, like you guys know, that this isn't rocket science. I don't have to have a PhD to stand up here and tell you what I'm about to tell you in the next little bit, then that's the part that's gonna hurt you a little. Because if you don't know somebody in here that's been mated, it might not be so bad, but if you do, the bomb I'm about to drop might hurt. So I just want you to know that. It's not to rub it in, but it's to let you know the reality of what's going on, okay? So last year, I'm on a book tour. My book came out last year. Not here, I didn't bring it, I didn't sell it, that's not what I'm about. But the reason I'm telling you about the book isn't to be braggadocious, but it's to let you know the path I go down to find this stuff. So I'm on this book tour, okay, and they go, Kelsi, you should probably like use this opportunity to speak about some of the stuff you know, about the veterans. And I was like, yeah, we'll speak about it. Okay, cool. I'm at a chiro appointment. You guys are gonna love this. My chiropractor's very religious. Like I walk in, there's like the crucifix, it's like the vibe, and she's like, I gotta tell you something. I was like, that is very serious for you. Why does your face look like that? She goes, I have a lady from my church you need to speak with. And I went, what did I do wrong? Who did I offend? For sure, everyone. And she's like, no. The Fraser healthcare system. Oh yeah, you know that name. Ready for this? In the library near us next week, guess what they're doing? All the healthy pensioners have been sent this package to go sit down and learn about how awesome MAID is and how you can access it. And they're gonna give snacks and door prizes. She goes, you wanna see the slideshow? I said, there's a slideshow? They said, oh, there's a slideshow. So they send me the slideshow, okay? I didn't bring it because I'm a big believer that my animation is better than the slideshow. Even with my broken knee. So here, I'm gonna lay it out for you, ready? Slideshow starts and it's like, hey everyone, I'm so excited to talk to you about MAID and how you can unburden your family and society financially if you just go down track 1 or 2. And if you don't have an ailment, don't worry, we'll find an excuse. And here's how you do it. Here's the form, here's who you ask, here's what it costs, here's how fast you can do it, here's the conditions you need to have it. I'm going, what? What am I reading right now? I feel like I'm in La La Land. And I'm like, I know I didn't smoke weed this morning, so this is a concern. And I call my husband and I go, I think I found something. And he goes, what'd you find? I'm like, it's bad. He goes, how bad? I'm like, maybe need security at the house bad. And he's like, oh, okay, so show it to me. So we go through the slideshow and I go, well, what are a few things I'm good at? Being loud and getting people to pay attention. So I'm on my book tour, so I got a reason to call all the media outlets anyway. I have this new fancy book you're gonna wanna talk about, but also, can you read this slideshow for me real quick? No one in Canada would touch it. And I have been on all the CBC shows, I've been on all the CTV shows, I'm the veteran correspondent that comes on to talk about why you don't do fireworks. That's me. Yeah, I know, it's a good time, you can laugh. So here's what happens. We call the Daily Mail in the UK. Guess who picks it up? They go, we're gonna talk about this, and we're gonna talk about this loud. So we send them the slideshow. Canada Day, they post it. And they go, this is what your government is doing. So that's all good, everything's fine, people are dying, no one's paying attention, everyone's delusional, I'm the crazy one. And so we go through this process and I leak it out to the Daily Mail and I go to myself, I wonder if I can get Piers Morgan to talk to me. So my PR reaches out, she's in New York this week. You think Piers can make time? Oh, Piers just happens to be in New York too. Let's talk. So I'm on set with Robert Kennedy Jr. and Douglas Murray and me in a pink suit. And he goes, what do you want to talk about? I said, MAID. He goes, okay, all right, you got stats? I said, just hit go, let's go. So I go on and we drop the bomb about the 10,500, about the 13,000 and the climbing rate of people being killed. And at this point, I knew almost nothing still about how bad this was. This was the tip of the iceberg. This is what I was being shown. And from that, people started to pay attention after it went viral. So that's all one big piece of the puzzle, and people are getting it. Cool, that's fine. I've done my duty. Yeah, whatever. Come home, I get a phone call. My buddy goes, you got to meet this lady named Alicia Duncan. You got to meet her, you got to meet her, you got to meet this lady. I'm, okay, calm down. Easy racehorse, I got it. So I meet her, right? Alicia Duncan. I'm going to give you the backstory on this absolutely banana level, amazing soul. One of the best people you'll ever meet in your life. I'm not exaggerating. I've met a lot of people. Her mom was killed with MAID. Okay? Do any of you know Donna Duncan's story? Have you guys heard it before? Yeah. Have you guys seen the Rebel documentary called MAID? Okay, cool. So Alicia was featured in that. Alicia is this amazing daughter, and her mother, Donna, was a psych nurse, 25 years psych nurse, used to run the hospital psych departments. She got in a car accident, hit her head. And I know TBIs. So when I'm finding out about this, this is all I'm finding out after she's passed away, but as soon as she started saying it, I went, that's preventable if she got into a specialist soon enough. That would have been fixable if she saw a TBI doctor. That would have been fixable if she was actually paid attention to. So my point in saying here is this was all fixable, okay? TBI, what happens with TBI? Your frontal lobe shuts down. What's your frontal lobe do? It is responsible for your executive function control, your temperament, how you react to things, rational behavior, frontal lobe, okay? It's your governor, it's your gas pedal. Well, when you hit your head a certain way, that can go dormant. Alicia's mom starts deteriorating rapidly, okay? She goes from being a perfectly healthy person running a hospital to being afraid she's gonna be shot by a sniper when she comes out of her house, to pureeing all of her food because she couldn't eat, all the way down to the point where she was about 80 pounds, okay? That's not normal behavior, that's not mentally stable behavior, that's none of that. All while hiding this from her daughters, okay? She goes into the hospital, she requests MAID. Let me just preface this. Depression, anorexia, cachexia, none of those are ways or reasons you should be a candidate for MAID. It's not terminally ill. They can be healed. You can fix yourself if the doctors want you to. So she applies. The daughters find out. And they do what any good kid would do, which is go to the courts immediately and get her held to protect herself from herself, because that is what Canadians are supposed to do. You walk into the hospital, say, I want to die, I'll hold you for 72 hours, we'll do a psych eval, we'll medicate you, we'll make sure we get you level. Because what do we know about suicide? It's an impulse. And it happens at night when you're exhausted and you're beat down and you haven't slept. Because how do you break a human? And you guys know? One of our techniques overseas, we just don't let you sleep for 72 hours. Then you tell us anything we want, right? So what do we know? When you don't sleep, this is your mindset goes down the drain. So they get the injunction. The courts say she can't go through with MAID. She goes home and slits her wrist. She's so devastated. They take her to the hospital. 2 days later, they MAIDed her. Right? So what do we know about MAID? You were supposed to be sound of mind. Tell me, how is anybody who says I want to die sound of mind? Are we? Can we even prove that? We can't, because it's ridiculous. If you're saying I want to end my life, by definition, you are not sound of mind. If you go through the DSM, if you go through the protocols, if you go through any of the healthcare stats, you have to be sound of mind to make these decisions, but that's not what's happening. Right? Because what's happening if you were sound of mind means you wouldn't want to use MAID, because anybody else knows that emotions are like the ocean. They ebb and they flow and they come and they go. Same with depression, same with anxiety, same with all of those. Also, what is the one thing the schools, hospitals, or doctors don't teach you? You have a superpower. All of you have it right now. It's called your breath. I'm a breathwork practitioner. There's no need for anxiety drugs. You know why? Because if you knew how to breathe properly, you wouldn't need them. But we don't teach you that, because that's too holistic and woo-woo. So that's fine, cool, I'm fine with that. So I'm now involved with Alicia. I'm now involved publicly, and Rebel reaches out. Rebel News, you guys know who Rebel News is? Yeah, you do. You guys know who Sheila is and all those people? Perfect. They reach out and they go, hey, we're interviewing Alicia, we want to talk to you. I went, sure, say when. So we go and we do this, and they're like, we're making a documentary. We're like, okay, cool, yeah, obviously, duh. And at this point, Alicia and I saw the expansion coming. We saw it. They wanted to extend on the children to the age of 12, and the mentally ill. So what does the mentally ill encompass, guys? Homeless, addicts, depression, fibromyalgia, and debt. Depression due to debt. Okay? So what do we all go through in life? Depressive states. Debt. We're Canadian. We're all living off credit cards. Don't pretend. We all go through these things because it means we are going through the human experience. You need to understand these things aren't permanent. You have to observe, not absorb. But we're not taught that. So what do? We go, I'm depressed, I go to the doctor, they give you the drug, it didn't work, we up the dose, we up the dose, we up the dose, now we don't feel anything. And then we get complacent, right? We get complacent. Like you said, this gentleman, when you spoke, I was like, yes, because that's the problem right there. We as Canadians, and I said this morning, I said it last night to Angelina, this is one of my biggest things, and it's gonna make you real uncomfortable, and I don't care. The pro-life movement, the pro-church movement, the pro-religion, I need you to get up. Why am I, who own a jewelry company and a keynote speaker, have to go out and stand up for you? I need your help. I'm one person. I'm one human being that does 6 to 7 jobs on a daily basis. I can't do this alone. Angelina can't do this alone. Jackie can't do this alone. None of these organizations can do it alone. No church can do it alone. But Canada has made sure we are so damn compartmentalized. We are so stressed. We are so broken down. We are so in debt. We're about to go into the 40th worst years Canada economically has ever seen. And they bank on us being literally delusional. They bank on us being distracted by Ukraine. We don't need to be there. They bank on us being Israel. We don't need to be there. You don't have to agree with me. That's cool. I don't need you to. I'm not saying it for that. I'm saying it because I've been to war. I'm saying because I've seen what happens when we leave the places we occupy. Guess what happens? We replace the Taliban with the Taliban and hundreds of millions of dollars of equipment and billions of dollars and lists with names. We abandoned 3,000 Canadian visa holders that worked with us. I pulled them out. You know what happened when we pulled them out? We were told, don't do it again or the government's coming for us. But we pulled them out without any of your help, without any of your noise, without any planes, without government assistance, using a cell phone sitting on my deck in Vancouver. I was able to do more than this government was. So what does that say? We are individually way more powerful than they want to acknowledge. We are individually way more powerful if we just speak up. But Canada has a fault. Okay? This is where it's uncomfortable. Nobody wants to rock the boat. I don't want my neighbor to hate me. What if the moms at school don't like me? What if they find out that I actually pray at dinner? What if they find out that I actually am for pro-life? Stop it. Stop it. Get uncomfortable. That is the only way you grow. That is the only way we change, and that is the only way we stop our citizens from being murdered. So want to hear the really gross stuff now? Jordan Peterson called. I'm a podcaster. I know that. And I've been on all the platforms. All of them, except for like 3, and I'm working on it. And he says, hey, yeah, we know that this is short notice, but can you be in Austin in 72 hours? I'm like, what's it for? Like, Jordan Peterson wants to talk. Oh, yeah, I'll be there. There, consider it done. So I show up, I stand in front of this 6'4" tall man, and he walks in and he goes, hey, Kelsi, what do you want to talk about? And I said, you know, MAID, Canada, tyranny, communism. Which one? What do you want? And he goes, okay, so we sit down. And he goes, let's talk about your life. I don't want to talk about my life. Read the book. Listen to the other podcasts. I don't want to do that. But like she said, he gave me the space. He let me talk. So we spoke. But then we did 45 minutes behind the Daily Wire's paywall. If you guys are not Daily Wire members, I'm not associated at all, but I'm telling you it's worth it. Because that 45 minutes right there will break you in half. There is a clip that surfaced, which I didn't know it was going out, that went viral. We're about to hit 1 million views this week. 12 minutes. And I'm going to lay it out real quick for you. MAID is seen as compassion and empathy. How many of you have heard that? Compassion and empathy for grandma. We want grandma to not be in pain, don't we? You don't want her to, she's got Alzheimer's, she doesn't even know she's there, honey. Really? You don't think so? Okay, cool.
But I thought they didn't want her to die.
No, we want her to be comfortable in her passing, right?
Before they were saying we don't want to kill grandma.
We don't want to kill grandma, but if we're going to do it, we want it to be empathetic, okay? We want compassion. So, sorry, I'm just like so delusionally disgusted with this empathy and compassion conversation. So they go, we don't want grandma to, we want her to be peaceful. Okay, so here's what happens when you take MAID. Ready? So you guys heard of Dr. Zvote before? Dr. Joel Zvote? Okay, he testified in 2021 in front of the Senate of Canada. He is a 25-year anesthesiologist and critical care doctor who now lives in America because he's smart. And he goes, and he testifies in front of Canada, and he goes, look, I have seen the largest autopsies ever done of post-lethal injection patients, okay? These are the guys from the United States, did bad things, we shoot them up, they die. I still think it should be firing squad, by the way. And so they go through this process and they go, this one drug is kind of going missing off the market for anesthesiologists, and we don't really know much about it. And him being kind of a curious human finds out it's made by Hospira in Italy. Hospira makes a drug, or used to make a drug called sodium, I've been told I say it wrong, it's thiopental, okay? Essentially this is a high pH drug that when you give a high dose, it causes end of life. But the best part about it, what we didn't know, is all of these autopsies came back and 85% of them had their lungs 2 times filled with fluid. Guess what that indicates, everyone, if you're not sure? Death by drowning or waterboarding. And what do we know about waterboarding, friends? Falls under the Geneva Convention, cruel and unusual punishment, right? So we're doing that. So then I say this on Jordan Peterson. This is the drug we found. This is what they're doing. This is my concern. This comes out and they go, all these people go,
But Kelsi, Canada's not using sodium thiopental in their kits.
I said, okay, but what are they using? Different drugs, same family. What do we know about the same family of drugs, guys? They do the same thing. Same edema, same problem with the lungs, same issues. And here's where Canada gets really disgusting, outside of like everything else I've said. There's 2 ways to do it. Injection IV or oral pill. Injection IV up to 15 minutes, or a pill up to 24 hours. Okay? What else do we know? MAID kit first time, dicey at best. Second kit has to come in and be deployed. Okay, so if we're doing it so efficiently, why do we need 2 kits? Also, why are we giving him a paralytic if it's so peaceful? The first drug that's pushed is a paralyzing drug. So let's take that into account for a second.
But grandma looks so peaceful.
Because she was paralyzed. That's hard to hear. That's really hard to hear. They will paralyze them first so that when they throw an epileptic fit or they start gasping for air as their lungs filled with fluid, it looks peaceful. And once you're paralyzed, who can say stop? No one, right? So I got brought into this, unbeknownst to me, because they were killing my friends. And they were killing my friends one after the other because they overdrug them. They don't help them when they get home from overseas. They turn to alcohol. They go to the Legion and drink their faces off And we don't say boo about it. We say it's bonding time. Grab a beer with a buddy. What happens when you have trauma and alcohol? What do we know about alcohol, guys? It's a depressant. Should it ever been or ever be used when we have pharmaceutical drugs in our system? No. What are all veterans on? Drugs. What does the Legion push? Alcohol. Why do we think we have so many people that want to die? The literal expansion was stopped not because we did anything magical, but because our healthcare system is so burdened right now with so many people that want to die. That's how many are in line. That we actually cannot handle the surplus of individuals who are like, I want to check out. And then you have people like Simon Department Store. Oh, you guys know about this one? Oh, for those who don't know, you're gonna love this. Again, subliminal messaging brought to you by Pfizer. Simon's goes, we're gonna sell our home goods using somebody who wants to die with MAID. Come to find out she never wanted to die with MAID, she just couldn't get into the doctor. So they put her on a beach with her home goods and the bubbles and the waves. And they talk about how before she ends her life, she's gonna have one last time on the beach with her friends and her family. Buy our stuff at Simon's. That was a commercial on your TV. I say your because I don't watch TV. I say your because I don't watch the media. And I say your because I'm borderline barely a Canadian at this point. The only reason I'm doing what I'm doing, because to be honest with you, I have no need to be in this fight. Doesn't affect me. I've been in suicide prevention since 2015. My only job is keep my friends alive. That's my purpose. But now you're coming for my kids. Now you're coming for my mom. Now you're coming for my dad. And guess what? I'm a candidate, everyone. I'm 34 years old. I wear hearing aids. I have post-traumatic stress disorder, according to them, traumatic brain injury, postpartum depression. Oh, also, I'm one of 160 Canadians who qualifies under the Special Access Program for regulated drugs. I was the first to ever do the macro dose of psilocybin regulated last year. Do you know how hard that was for me to get? Health Canada offered me electroshock therapy before they give me access to mushrooms. Okay, that's where we're at. So what do we have to do differently to make this stop? We have to ask the hard question, okay? Here's what the hard question is. This is why you need to go to your pastors. This is why you have to go to your teachers. This is why you have to go to your MPs. This is why you have to call your aunts, your uncles, your brothers, your cousins, any family member that you care about, that you want to see live, and say, no. Get the D&E card. You make them know it. I don't want to be a part of your program, because what else do we know they're doing? Organ donation. Harvesting, right? So in 2016, all of a sudden, we just had this massive surplus of organs. What do we know about the heart and lungs, guys? Can't take it from a dead body, can you? Is it rocket science? Am I delusional? Am I crazy? Is anybody else seeing this? They are trying to encourage down to children who are depressed. Guess what? You can heal depression. They're encouraging people who are anorexic. Guess what? You can heal anorexia. They are encouraging people with issues that can be fixed. But they can only be fixed if you have access to health care, not death care. So call the people and ask the question, why is it that we have so many people that want to die in this country? What has happened to this country? How have we gotten so bad? How have we gotten so unhealthy? How have we become so hopeless that we have decided it is easier to die than it is to live? What are we teaching our kids? Why are we allowing what's being taught in schools to be taught? Look at Soji. No wonder the kids are depressed. Wouldn't you be confused too if all of a sudden you had a little girl acting like a cat in your room and you're told you're a boy when you know you're a girl? This stuff is adult problems on children's minds. Dr. Phil nailed it years ago. He's my TV dad, by the way, I love him. He goes, you don't put adult problem on children's minds. You don't let kids get tattoos at 12. You don't let kids get tattoos at 14, 16, 18 is the line. We don't vote till we're 18. We don't drink till we're 18 or 19. We don't do these things. And even then, we know our brains aren't fully formed. So we take a pass. 18 feels all right. So why are we letting them get the opportunity to decide they want to die? Why are we saying the 17-year-old with depression should be allowed to say, I want to die with your taxpayer dollars? If you want to die, stop removing the barriers. It's easy then. Here's your example. You guys know the Bloor Street Bridge? Yeah, right? Okay. You guys had a crazy amount of suicides on that thing for a very, very, very long time. And then they put the barrier to suicide. Guess what happened? Your suicide rate went down. Because when you remove the barriers and you allow the impulse, more people kill themselves. And now they want us to say, die by suicide. Okay. No, you killed yourself. You decided, I don't want to be here anymore. And look, I get it. I've been told I'm broken. I've been told I'll never work again. I've been told I'm useless. I've been told I'm everything but a healthy, productive part of society. I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm killing it, so. So my point is, if I stand in front of you and I'm officially a candidate for MAID, ask yourself the question, how have we gotten so bad? How have we gotten so unhealthy that people like me can walk into the hospital and die in a 24-hour period? All I'm saying is I need you to be louder. I need you to rock the boat. I need you to get uncomfortable. I need you to say the hard thing no one wants to hear to their face. You're a coward, you're not trying hard enough, you're not doing anything about it. Because I'm in the coaching world, right? So my job is to come up and motivate you to do push-ups and get your shit together. But my job is to show you the awareness piece. Because once you're aware, now it's a conscious choice. Meaning you have the choice now. You now know how it's being done. You know who's being targeted. You understand that we've killed over 60,900 since 2016, which surpassed the Netherlands, by the way, who have been loosely doing it since the 70s. What does that say? Predatory behavior. So what are you going to do about it? I'm serious. When you leave, what are every single one of you going to do about it? You're aware now. What's that? You're going to do the D&E, and then what are you going to do? Call. Get on the phone and be psychopathic about it. I'm not kidding. If it hasn't touched you yet, don't get it twisted, people. It's coming. So stand up, do the hard thing, rock the boat. Because literally people like me and my son, who is 8 years old, I'm not kidding, I'm counting on you. Because I cannot do this alone anymore. So ask the question, please. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Do any of you have any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just...
Yeah.
Good. I'd certainly like to thank you for your transparency, the vulnerability and the openness. I had the opportunity to see Abby Johnson's upcoming release to the unthinkable, or unplanned now unthinkable.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but notice, and not to get too personal,
I'm pretty open.
guys, So many of the women who are dealing with post-abortion grief that
Yeah.
Abby highlights are as tattooed as you are. And at least the theory that the intensity, the pressure point, pain,
Yeah.
you look well experienced in that. You referenced the tattooing. Could you comment a little
Sure.
further? Because you've obviously, especially on the fingers and hands, I imagine.
Oh, I'm going to be head to toe by the time I die, so I'm not worried.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, I got no shame in that. I'll talk about these all day. I was told, I came up in a Catholic family, I told you this. If I ever got tattoos, if I ever smoked weed, guess what I do all the time? All of the above. Doesn't make me a bad person. Trauma has a response, okay? Trauma has a response. And there is research behind the motion and the healing process, okay? And so tattoos for me are self-expression, okay? I'm covered. I've got my back done, my sides done, my arms done. I'll have my entire body except for my neck done by the time I die. And not because I'm like so... Yeah, I mean, but it's tolerable. I mean, have you pushed a baby out of your body before? No. Ain't a thing then, honey, ain't a thing. But my point is we all have our ways that it shows up. I just have to be grateful every single day that when God said it's going to show up, we're going to do it in a pretty way and not an addiction-based way and not a suicide way or a way where I left my husband, who I've been with for 14 years. So I'm grateful every day for it. I know it's harsh for some people, and I know a lot of traditionalists who are like, you know, that's a bit much, Kels. And I said, well, go to war, watch your friends die, and tell me how you cope. Yeah. So no, I love them. I'm all about it. They all have a story. They all have a story. Yeah, it's cathartic. Anybody else? Hi there.
Well, I have been dedicatedly pro-life for much of my life. That for me also includes, I have been very anti-war, very, very active in the peace movement. And so I'm going to say something that some people might not like.
That's okay.
Yeah. And we've heard about empire here, about an empire here. I think the empire is much bigger than just the domestic empire.
Yeah.
We have to re-examine also our foreign policy, because that same foreign policy that talks about regime change wars and looks at other people that we can bomb and we can, you know, their families and so on, and you know, in the thousands, and where they just become statistics. Mm-hmm. Is it any wonder that those same forces
No, it's not.
that are going and doing that to other people come back and do it to us?
It's not a surprise.
It's not.
No, it's not.
Okay, it's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll quote somebody that, you know, from the 1960s who fought for his people, Malcolm X. When Kennedy was shot, and he was asked about it, he said the chickens are coming home to roost.
That's right.
And what he meant by that was the violence that was being perpetrated against his people would eventually, by the same people, be triggered back on them. Mm-hmm. That is what we are now seeing here. Mm-hmm. The violence and attitudes of the globalists, mm-hmm. the empire people, mm-hmm. who are using it in other countries, are now using it against us.
1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%. So I have this saying, and I think it goes across the board, whether you have seen violence or not, in any way, in any capacity, whether that's been in this nation or other nations. Nobody I know who are professional killers would ever advocate for more war. That's just the truth. Here's the other hard reality, though. There is a need for hyper special forces, hyper insurgency, because there are bad people who need to go. But not the civilians around them, not the mothers with them. But the other thing I will remind you of, and this is something people don't see because, oh God, the media would never let you see this. It would never let you see a mother hold her child in front of her and then blow them both up. So women can be just as violent. And my other question, I guess, and my question to you is, we have the wars going on now, right? Okay, so we have Israel. We have Hamas and Palestine. We have Ukraine and Russia. We have all of these people. So where were you all for the past 20 years? Because guess what? The Taliban were stoning women then too. They were burning babies alive then too. Guess what they're still doing now? It's 2024. Where was your outrage? Or were you guys just not involved enough? Or did you guys not pay attention enough? But they're sure as hell making you pay attention to this one, aren't they? Why is that? Convenient outrage. These wars have been going on. Guess what else has been going on? Yemen. Yemen. You guys know we've been bombing the living shit out of Yemen now for like the past 10 years, killing women and kids? Where was your outrage? Where was it, Canada? Okay. What about your outrage, the fact that Canada's about to send another, was it 300 to 500 million over to Ukraine? Where do you think that's going, guys? Because I got people on the ground right now. Guess where it's not going? Front lines. Guess who's not getting it? Ukrainians. It's not happening. So my best advice is really simple. Every single politician, I'm not kidding, needs to do a high dose of mushrooms. Because guess what'll happen? Guess what'll happen? Your ego will die. Guess what else will happen after? You'll go to the peace table. Because that's what really happens. If you want peace, war has to stop. The people you have in power have egos. The people you have in power are bought by the CCP. That's provable. The only way that we stop more war, somebody has to come to the peace table. Not go up to the border and say, I'm going to make this nation a NATO nation and push a button. Because if you think for a single second that when Russia hits a button, have you guys ever heard of Annie Jacobson? You guys ever heard that name before? Google her after this. She's just written a book called The Nuclear War. Guess what happens 7 minutes after? They hit that button, America will leash everything it's got. There isn't a globe after that. So when people say, I support Ukraine, you're not supporting Ukraine. It's a proxy war. You're supporting America and Canada and Latvia and NATO. And you're not paying the price, either are your kids. Okay? I get bad things have to happen, things have to happen. But you can also stand up and say to your MP, I'm not donating anymore. You're not taking my taxpayer dollar. We're not doing that because you guys have all seemed to forget. They work for us. We don't work for them. They work for us. And Ontario has all the power. Because when I went to vote on that last election, guess what happened? 4 o'clock in BC. Guess what election was called? Mine. Because you have all the seats, which means you have all the power. You just forgot how to use it. So when you call your people and you say these things, ask them to do a little bit of a dive on where your donations are going to the Liberal Party. Ask a little bit about what happens when that money goes to Ukraine. Ask the hard question, where's the equipment? Who's providing it? Who's doing training? What are the boots on the ground? Because guess what? There's American Special Forces there. Just like they're in Syria right now, just like they're in Iraq right now, just like they're in Afghanistan right now, just like Russia's got 2 warships sitting off of Florida's coast doing war games 25 miles out with nukes. Get loud. This is all fixable. But you can't rely on me and like anybody else my age to do it. We're doing everything we can. You guys have the power in your communities. You're the community leaders. You're the church leaders. You're the people that go to the PAC meetings. You guys are the ones that are doing that work. We're getting into it, but we need you to try, just differently. Otherwise, Canada's just going to keep falling into this feedback loop where we're a part of NATO, we give a bunch of money, we give a bunch of soldiers, we all become numbers, veterans come home. Because guess what the real cost of war is? It's not your civilians. It's not. It's the generations after that, and it's every single veteran that comes home and shoots themselves in the head. Because now they don't have a parent. Because now their home's broken. What do we know about broken homes? Addiction, depression. This is not as simple as a soldier going overseas and pulling a trigger. This is bigger. We have to start acting like it. Anybody else?
Quickly.
Yeah, last one, hun.
I understand that you're really passionate about the issue and you've gone through a lot. I'm just wondering, how is it that when we're making, like, I'm on the streets with our team, and we're changing people's minds on abortion every single week. And the only times that we actually change someone's mind are when we take a very, like, we have a logical, very reasoned approach. We have, it's in our policies that we don't yell, we aren't allowed and abrasive with them. We try and have a dialogue.
How's that working out?
It works great. We have so many people changing their minds on the issue.
When you say so many people, how many are you talking about?
We're talking hundreds.
Okay.
Hundreds of people are changing their minds every month because of the teams on the streets. How is it that being loud and obnoxious and directing so much energy at the person, how is that going to change someone's mind instead of driving them away from what they're trying to address?
Because there's a, how do I answer this succinctly? Because I was a number and I was a nobody in a small town. And because people resonate with people. And you know how Canada fell into the position it fell in? Let me talk to you about my issues. This is a problem. I'm really concerned. I really wish you'd be more empathetic and compassionate. How about, hey, you're killing a fucking human being. How's that feel? How do you sleep at night? Make them question themselves. You don't have to like the way I do it, but the way I do it works. And it cuts through the noise, because you can only be monotone for so long, because you can literally only do that for so long, and you can slow roll it, and every life saved is a life saved and worth saving. I hear you. That's why I do what I do. But sometimes, the majority of Canada is like this. And you need to break through the noise. So I'm not obnoxious. I care enough. I take time to sit down. I am one of the best paid coaches in Canada. You know why? I sit there and I shut up. But there's a time and a place. And for people who think that being quiet is going to work, let me know how COVID worked out for you. How's your business doing? How's your family feeling? Do they feel supported? Do they feel heard? Do they feel like you care? Are you going to go kick a door in to make a change? Because that's the difference between you and me, right? Life experience, right? You have yours rose-colored lenses, and so do I. Mine look different. I hear someone screaming in that building, I'm going to run, regardless if my life is going to die or not. I'm going to kick that door in and I'm going to pull them out. That's the difference. I'm going to do what it takes. I'm going to make you uncomfortable. I'm going to make you think, and I'm going to make you move. It works for some people. It doesn't work for everyone. I'm not for everyone. Either is Jordan Peterson. But we're doing all right. So that's the only way. Some people don't respond, man. Some people need to be shook. It's uncomfortable. That's where the growth lies, though.